Sirui is coming up and they are making lenses that are getting better and better. This is quite a good one. I was in Miami just a couple of weeks ago doing a corporate shoot over the course of 4 days with a few of my friends, and I wouldn't say that this lens is some sort of hero, but it did save us when our production cameras were struggling in low light at night. This is the new Sirui Aurora 35mm F1.4. It joins the 85mm that I reviewed about 9 months ago, and if you're looking for a budget-friendlier option to, let's say, the Sony G Master 35mm, well, this lens is 1/3 of the price. Construction is solid. It's all aluminum and glass with some bits of rubber and plastic. Weight is a significant 492 grams, so just over 1 pound. For the size, it does feel dense. It's well built. I wouldn't put it on the same level as the Sigma Art or Viltrox Pro series, but still quite good. Starting at the rear, there is a metal mount, electronics, a USB-C port for firmware updates, and a weather sealing gasket. This lens is dust and splash resistant throughout, which is a big positive because a majority of budget lenses aren't sealed from the elements. The aperture ring is well done, good resistance, good clickiness, and if you prefer no clicks, this rather large switch controls that. Sirui logo here, Aurora branding on top. There is an iris lock switch that locks you into or out of auto aperture, a function button, and an autofocus manual focus switch. All of these controls are almost comically larger than what I am used to, but I suppose that it is a good thing for those with larger hands. Manual focus ring is up here. It is all electronic, quite light to rotate, but very smooth. Around the front is a large convex element. Lens specs 62mm front filter thread, and minimum focus is 1.15 feet. Inside there are 16 elements in 11 groups and a 13-bladed diaphragm. Autofocus is handled by an STM or a stepper autofocus motor. So let's take a look at how this lens performs on my A7C. All of these photos and videos are direct from my camera with no fancy edits or LUTs or color grading. Ready, set, go. So let's dive a little bit into the optical performance of this lens. In terms of sharpness, you get a very good result. Wide open at f1.4, the center of the frame is very sharp, the corners are a bit less sharp, and they are more noticeably very dark. Colors and contrast levels are great, I have no complaints. Now this Sirui isn't on the same level as the Sony G Master or Sigma Art lens. You don't get that clinical sharpness and perfection to the image, but it also doesn't carry that premium price tag. Chromatic aberration performance is slightly above average. There is some color fringing here and there. There is some Loca as well, nothing too terrible, but it is there. Flare performance likewise is just about average. There are a lot of flare elements here. Contrast is definitely affected by this, but again, it's not terrible. I mentioned the dark corners. Vignetting is quite strong at f1.4 and it gets noticeably better at f2.8. And while looking at some straight lines, this lens has a unique distortion profile, mostly straight. Just the corners get a little bit of pincushion pull. I would say that the bokeh on this lens is one of its strong points. Very smooth, no outlining, no weird textures. The shape remains mostly intact into the corners. Really, in the bokeh department, I'm very happy with this lens. Now, in terms of autofocus, you have to maintain some expectations. The autofocus motor is near silent. It's very, very quiet, accurate most of the time, but it's not the fastest. It does take a bit more time to nail focus than an equivalent Sony or Sigma or even Viltrox lens. For video work and casual photography, this likely won't be an issue, but if you shoot fast action with a 35mm, you might be let down. Focus breathing also is pretty strong here, which again doesn't make this an ideal lens for cinematic focus pulls. So what is the conclusion? Well, this is where you have to talk about value. The Sony GM is $1,500 US. The Sigma Art is $1,000 US. So you guessed it, this Sirui is right around $500. For 1/3 the price of the G Master, you're getting a very usable, pretty solid lens. Viltrox doesn't really have a competitor for this one. You could say the 35mm Lab, but that's f1.2 and that's $1,000. Rokinon has an alternative, which is a big older lens that I haven't tried yet. So it's great, right? Well, there is a strong caution that I have to issue here. There have been some reports of these new lenses, and these are, mind you, probably some pre-production lenses. They are not stamped. Actually, mine is stamped sample only on the side. So this might only apply to the review units, but there have been some reports of some of these new lenses having some decentering issues, meaning that there is an issue with quality control, and one of the elements maybe was installed slightly off. The result of this is usually you'll see one or two corners softer than the other corners. So if you do pick up one of these lenses, just shoot a flat subject and make sure that the corners, zoom in on your computer, make sure that all the corners are equally sharp, just to make sure that you have a good copy of this one. This Sirui is not a perfect lens, but for the money it ticks a lot of the boxes, and if you do find yourself needing something in low light, having that f1.4 lens for your full frame camera is very, very handy, especially with a focal length as versatile as 35mm. I know many people who claim that their favorite focal length is in fact 35mm on full frame. Just make sure, again, if you do pick one up, you get a good copy. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. Is there a better fast 35mm for the money or for less money? What is your favorite focal length to use on your full frame camera? Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.